Bears family! What I've just discovered about our locker room has me completely shocked, and you won't believe what's really happening at Hallis Hall. DJ Moore just revealed a brutal truth about Ben Johnson that's going to change everything you thought you knew about this new regime. But that's nothing compared to the ruthless attack an NFL analyst just launched against our head coach on national television, criticizing him for something so absurd you'll think it's a joke, and when you think you've heard it all. The McCaskey family just made a historic decision that goes straight to the heart of what it means to be a Chicago Bear, honoring the legacy of this franchise in a way you've never seen before. These three stories are connected in a way that will blow your mind and help you understand why the 2025 season could be completely different from everything we've experienced in the last 15 years. Don't move an inch from this screen, because what we're going to analyze today will define the future of our Chicago Bears. Give it a like right now, subscribe if you haven't, and get prepared, because this is going to be epic. Do you know what's burning my brain right now? That finally, after 15 years of humiliation, after watching this franchise fall apart before our eyes, we have a head coach who doesn't care about stepping on anyone's toes. And DJ Moore just confirmed what we've all been waiting to hear. Listen to me, because this is critical to understand where we stand. In 105 years of Chicago Bears history, the last 15 have been the most pathetic of our entire existence. Do you understand the magnitude of this? 105 years of history, and these last 15 have been the worst. We haven't won a playoff game since 2010, and we've only made it to the playoffs twice in 15 years. And you know what was most humiliating? That Hail Mary against Washington in Week 8 last year. I was watching that game, and when I saw that ball flying through the air, when I saw our players just standing there watching as they stole the victory from us so pathetically, I knew something was fundamentally rotten at the core of this team. But that wasn't the worst part. No, sir. The worst was what happened next. 9 consecutive losses. 9. Do you understand what it means psychologically for a team to lose 9 games in a row after such a humiliating defeat? That's not just bad luck. That's not just lack of talent. Oh, that's a losing culture that was completely infected from top to bottom. Matt Eberflus, that coach we thought would bring discipline and structure, showed he had no clue how to handle pressure or keep a team together when times got tough. And what did the organization do? They fired him, as they should have, and went for the most sought-after candidate in the league. Ben Johnson is not just any coach family. This guy comes from Detroit, where he took an offense that was the joke of the NFL and turned it into one of the most explosive and creative in the league. Jared Goff, who was considered a mediocre quarterback, suddenly became an MVP candidate under Johnson's system. Amon-Ra St. Brown turned into a star. And now that same offensive genius is here in Chicago working with Caleb Williams. And here's the bomb DJ Moore just dropped. When Bleacher Report asked him how he felt about the new regime, Moore gave one word: uncomfortable. And do you know what has me completely excited about this response? That Moore didn't say it negatively, he said it as a warning to the entire league that something is changing in Chicago. Do you realize what it means that a veteran receiver like Moore, who has been in this league for years, seen all types of coaches and systems, comes out publicly to say the practices are uncomfortable? That means Johnson came here with a clear message: mediocrity is over, comfort is over, accepting defeat as normal is over. Johnson is telling the players to get used to being uncomfortable, and I'm telling you that's the only way to break a losing culture that's been standing for 15 years. Do you think Tom Brady felt comfortable in Bill Belichick's practices? Do you think Aaron Donald felt comfortable in practices when the Rams won the Super Bowl? Discomfort is the price of excellence, and Moore fully understands that. He knows if he wants to win a championship, if he wants to be part of something special, he has to be willing to be pushed beyond his limits. And that's exactly what Johnson is doing. Do you know what sets Johnson apart from all the coaches we've had in recent years? That Johnson is not here to make friends. He's here to win championships. Matt Nagy came here talking about BU, and we ended up being the joke of the league with his ridiculous play calls. Eberflus came talking about discipline, and we ended up losing 9 games in a row. Johnson came and immediately set a completely different standard. The practices are more intense, the accountability is greater, the demand is total, and more. Being honest admits it's uncomfortable, but he also understands it's necessary. And here's what has me most excited about all this. Imagine what this means for Caleb Williams. Williams enters the NFL as the #1 quarterback in the draft, with all the pressure in the world on his shoulders. And instead of finding a coach who will treat him with kid gloves, he finds Johnson, who will demand perfection from day one. That's exactly what a young quarterback needs in this league. He doesn't need to be told he's fine. He needs to be told where he needs to improve. He doesn't need comfort. He needs to be constantly challenged to reach his maximum potential. More confirmed that Johnson has already reset the team's culture in just 1 week of training camp. Do you understand how impressive that is? In 1 week, Johnson has already changed the mindset of players who were used to losing, who accepted mediocrity as normal. That leadership ability, that skill to come in and immediately change the mindset of an entire locker room. That's not taught anywhere. That's pure coaching talent. And that's why Johnson was the most sought after candidate in the league. And now we come to the part that has me completely outraged. Family. David Carr, that analyst from NFL Network who was sacked 267 times, and his pathetic career as a quarterback just proved why his opinion is worth less than nothing when it comes to evaluating coaching talent. Do you know who David Carr is? He's the guy who holds the NFL record for most sacks received by a rookie, 76 sacks in a single season, 76 sacks. That's the guy who now pretends to give us lessons on leadership and team culture. It's like someone who's never driven a car trying to give me advice on Formula One racing. Carr made his NFC North prediction, put in the Lions first, the Packers second, hesitated, and put the Vikings third, then explained that the Bears were last. And do you know what his professional justification was? That he doesn't like the vibe of Ben Johnson's press conferences, and that Johnson isn't a press conference guy. Seriously? That's his professional analysis? That's the depth of his evaluation. He didn't talk about the talents we have. He didn't mention the improvements to the offensive line. He didn't analyze Caleb Williams' potential. He didn't discuss Johnson's offensive system. No, his big argument is he doesn't like the vibe of the press conferences. But here's what has me most annoyed. Carr said Johnson is betting against the team early on and covering his bets. Where? When? In what press conference has Johnson ever done that? Because I've seen every press conference since Johnson arrived, and not once has he shown doubt about this team or this season. This is trash journalism at its finest. It's inventing narratives out of thin air to justify a prediction that has no real basis. Johnson has been consistently positive and confident about the team's prospects, but Carr prefers to invent that he's betting against because he needs to justify his ridiculous prediction. And here's what shows how wrong Carr is. Johnson has been one of the best coaches we've had in press conferences in years. Do you remember Matt Nagy and his completely incoherent word salads? That guy could talk for 10 minutes without saying absolutely anything of substance. Do you remember Matt Eberflus saying, "What's that?" after every question and leaning forward so much he looked like he was going to fall? That guy acted like reporters' questions were in an alien language. And what about John Fox with his one-word answers that needed toothpicks to keep your eyes open? Or Mark Trestman with his salads of words without any seasoning or substance. Lovie Smith was loved by the players, but getting a real answer from him in a press conference was like getting blood from a stone. Johnson, on the other hand, really answers questions when possible. He's direct, he's honest, he's substantial in his answers. He doesn't evade difficult questions. He doesn't hide behind meaningless cliches. When asked about Williams' development, he gives specific answers about what he's seeing. When asked about the offensive system, he explains real concepts, and Carr is here to criticize that. He's here to criticize a coach who's finally being transparent and direct with the media and fans. It's completely ridiculous. And do you know what's most ironic about all this? That Carr, the guy who couldn't protect himself behind an offensive line during his career, now pretends to evaluate others' leadership capabilities. The guy who never could read a defense correctly now wants to give us lessons on vibes and team culture. Carr never won anything as a player, never showed true leadership on the field, never had significant success in this league, but now feels qualified to predict a team will finish lost based on press conference vibes. That's absurd. And you know what I love about all this? That CARR and all these analysts underestimating us are giving this team extra motivation. Johnson can use these ridiculous predictions as additional fuel. He can enter the locker room and tell the players, look at what they're saying about us. Look how they're underestimating us. Nothing is better for uniting a team than having all the experts betting against them for completely stupid reasons. And that's exactly what's happening here. CARR completely ignored that we have the #1 draft pick quarterback working with one of the most innovative offensive coordinators in the NFL. Ignored that we have a defense that remains solid. Ignored the improvements made to the offensive line. Ignored the talent we have in skill positions. His analysis didn't include any real football substance, just vibes and personal opinions about press conferences. That's not professional. Analysis, that's cheap entertainment disguised as sports journalism. And now we come to the news that has me completely excited and proves why the Chicago Bears are different from any other franchise in this league. The McCaskey family just announced something that goes beyond football. Something that speaks directly to the soul of what it means to be a Chicago Bear. The Bears are going to wear a commemorative patch in honor of Virginia McCaskey throughout the entire 2025 season, and this patch is no ordinary thing. It's an exact replica of the design they used when George Halas died in 1983. The founder of this franchise, the Papa Bear, who laid the foundation of everything we are today. Do you understand the symbolism of this? The patch has an orange football with navy stitches, a large M outlined in white for McCaskey, and 2 smaller letters on the sides, V for Virginia and H for Halas. It's the direct connection between the founder of this franchise and the woman who kept it together for decades. Virginia McCaskey wasn't just the owner of the Bears. She was the guardian of tradition, the protector of the values George Halas set over a century ago. And her family decided to honor her in the most appropriate way possible, directly connecting her with her father's legacy. And do you know what has me most excited about this decision? That Virginia McCaskey never sought public recognition, never wanted to be the center of attention, never meddled in decisions that weren't hers to make. She was a woman of principles who understood her role and executed it with absolute dignity. George McCaskey, her son and current chairman of the team, confirmed Virginia constantly told him, if it were up to me, we'd have the same home uniform and the same away uniform. That is respect for tradition. That's understanding that some things are more important than passing trends or marketing opportunities. And precisely because of that, the family decided that throughout the entire 2025 season, they will not wear alternate uniforms. Just the traditional navy at home and whites away, both with navy helmets. There will be no orange alternate uniforms, no 1936 throwbacks, nothing Virginia wouldn't have approved. Do you understand how powerful this is at a time when every team is constantly changing uniforms to generate more sales? The McCaskey said, no, we respect tradition above profits. That's authentic leadership. That's having real principles. But the story doesn't end there, family. They will also honor Steve McMichael, who passed away in April at age 67, with a decal on each helmet that includes a navy football with white laces and his number 76 in white, outlined in orange. That logo will also be painted on the Soldier Field turf at every game. Do you remember Steve McMichael? Mongo was the embodiment of Chicago's defense. He was pure intensity, uncontrolled passion, everything that Chicago football represented in the 80s. He was part of that 85 defense that forever changed this franchise's history. And do you know what I love about these two tributes together? That they represent the two faces of the Chicago Bears. Virginia McCaskey represented elegance, dignity, the family tradition that kept this organization together for decades. McMichael represented ferocity, intensity, the warrior heart that makes the Bears feared on the field. Together, these tributes tell the complete story of what it means to be a Chicago Bear. It's not just about winning games. It's not just about having talent. It's about having principles, respecting tradition, understanding that you are part of something bigger than yourself. And here's what has me most excited. Imagine what it means for Caleb Williams, for DJ Moore, for all the current players to wear that jersey with Virginia McCaskey's patch and play with McMichael's number 76 on their helmets. It's a constant reminder of the standards expected in Chicago. They aren't playing just to win games. They are playing to honor a legacy of over 100 years. They are playing to prove they are worthy of wearing the same colors as Walter Payton, Dick Butkus, Mike Singletary, Gale Sayers. Have you seen any other franchise in the NFL do something like this? Have you seen any other team honor their history in such an authentic and meaningful way? Most teams do 5-minute ceremonies, and that's it, but the Bears are making this tribute part of every game throughout the entire season. That's what sets us apart from everyone else. That's why, no matter how many years pass without championships, we remain the Chicago Bears. Because we understand that there are things more important than temporary results. There are values that transcend victories and defeats. And do you know what effect this will have on the team culture? That every time the players dress, every time they put on the helmet, they will remember they represent something bigger than themselves. They will remember there are standards to uphold, a reputation to defend. Ben Johnson can use this as an incredible motivational tool. He can tell them, you're not playing just for yourselves. You're playing for Virginia, playing for Mongo, playing for all the greats who came before you. And here's the brilliance of all this. While we honor the past with these tributes, we have Ben Johnson implementing the most modern and innovative offense in the NFL. It's the perfect combination of respecting tradition and adapting to modern times. Virginia McCaskey would have completely approved of this approach, keeping the fundamental values intact while striving for excellence on the field with the most advanced methods available. Bears family, after hearing all this, I need you to tell me exactly what you think, because these 3 news stories are completely connected and will define our 2025 season. First question, do you think DJ Moore confirming Ben Johnson is making practices uncomfortable is the definitive sign that we finally have the coach to break that 15-year losing culture? Because let me tell you this, discomfort is the price of greatness. And if Williams and the entire team buy into this mentality, we could be witnessing the beginning of a golden era in Chicago. Let me know in the comments if you agree or think Johnson needs more time to prove he can handle Chicago's pressure. Second question, what do you think of David Carr and his pathetic analysis of Ben Johnson? Do you think a guy who was sacked 267 times in his career has any credibility to criticize the leadership of others? Or do you agree with me that his predictions will age worse than milk in the sun? Because I'm telling you, Carr is more lost than a tourist in the loop, and his prediction that we'll finish last in the division is proof he doesn't understand a thing about what's happening in Chicago. If you're tired of these analysts constantly underestimating us, let me know in the comments. Third question, do the tributes to Virginia McCaskey and Steve McMichael seem the perfect way to honor this franchise's legacy? Or do you think they should do something bigger? Because to me, this shows exactly why the Bears are different from any other organization in the NFL. This is a franchise that understands there are values more important than profits, traditions that must be respected, no matter modern trends. And do you think these tributes will have a real impact on the players' mentality, or are they just symbolic gestures? Because I think every time Williams puts on that jersey with Virginia's patch, every time he sees Mongo's number 76 on his helmet, he'll remember the standards expected in Chicago. Now here's the important part. If you agree with me, that Ben Johnson is the coach we've been waiting for years. If you think he'll transform Caleb Williams into a star, if you believe the discomfort Moore described is exactly what we needed to break mediocrity, give this video a like right now. If you're tired of analysts like David Carr critiquing our team for completely ridiculous reasons, if you want us to keep defending the Bears against all the haters underestimating us, subscribe to the channel, because this community is becoming the strongest voice of Bears fans all over YouTube. And if these tributes excite you as much as me, if you understand that being a Chicago Bear means something special in this league, share this video with all your Bears fan friends, because this is the kind of content that shows why our franchise is unique. This community is growing incredibly fast because you understand Chicago doesn't play, that we have different standards, that we expect excellence both on and off the field. I need you to subscribe right now, because tomorrow we'll have more explosive news about the moves the Bears are making for this season, and you can't miss what's coming. turn on notifications, because when important news about Williams Johnson or any Bears moves breaks, you'll be the first to know with the deepest analysis you'll find anywhere. We are the Chicago Bears. We are the city that doesn't accept excuses, and together we'll see how this 2025 season can be the start of something historic. The combination of Johnson as coach, Williams as quarterback, and the legacy of Virginia McCaskey and Steve McMichael guiding us can be the perfect formula to return to glory. Bear down, family, and see you in the next video, where we'll analyze exactly how Johnson is preparing Williams to dominate the NFL. Don't miss it.